This is very much a music session, but it's in the marketing track, because Robbie Williams is a brand, and he's been a brand for quite a long time. But before we talk about him, who are you? What's your background, and how did you get into artist management?
Thanks. Yeah, so I'm Stephen O'Reilly. I'm Irish. I live in London. I've been working with Robbie for 7 years. At his company, his management company, IE Music. Before I joined IE, I was involved in music and technology and the venture capital side of things. So through working with these like interesting emerging technology companies in the music space, a lot of the folks I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis were artists and managers and record labels and streaming companies. But I really loved working with managers and artists, because I always thought like the manager is the person that deals with the whole business. And so really quickly, I ran a company called Mobile Roadie, who were pioneers in mobile app creation. And we done like the official iOS and Android applications when they were a thing for everybody from the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, Adele, Madonna, Cristiano Ronaldo. Branded were one of our first clients.
Music Matters?
Music Matters, yeah, way back in 2011, I think. Thank you for your help. And Robbie was actually probably my first client in the UK, because he's always been a pioneer in technology and connecting with fans and, finding new ways to connect. So that was how I first met Rob, through Mobile Roadie. And then after I left that business, I joined another tech company based out of Los Angeles, called Topspin. Topspin was it was kind of like what Shopify is today, but before Shopify kind of came to own the world, if you will, of e-commerce and D2C. So at Topspin, we worked with people like Eminem and Paul McCartney, and Robbie again was a client, helping artists primarily sell music, tickets and merchandise direct to consumers over the internet, and build audiences and create kind of lifetime relationship with a customer. And Topspin got acquired in 2013 by Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. They bought the business, and then it went on to be part of the Beats music streaming service, which ultimately became Apple Music. Then I was doing some consulting, working for other artists and folks on strategy, and Rob's managers at the time asked me to come and join the business because we had a good relationship and some success stories. So 7 years later, I'm a co-owner of the company, and work with Robbie on manage Robbie with my business partner Michael, working on everything we do around the world.
So I mean, it's a fascinating story, and I know our paths have crossed in the past, but how on earth can someone manage a brand or a talent like Robbie Williams? I mean, what is your role, and what does it look like day to day?
We're a small team, we've 10 people working in London. We have we have an office in Los Angeles as well. Robbie has lived in LA for 20 years, but he's got a European base as well. We're on tour, so he's kind of based out of Europe at the moment. But our every day is kind of different and exciting, because we have a lot going on. Everybody knows the traditional, releasing music, putting out albums, doing, tours around the world, playing in football stadiums and or the best arenas on the planet. So there's a lot of planning. You're kind of always working a year out sometimes. We deal with promoters, around the world, talking to them about how the shows are going, how the tickets are selling. We have to deal with social media companies, streaming companies, record labels. Brands is a huge part of our business, so we're out talking to the biggest brands in the world about, brand partnerships. And and then we have a team of people that try to. A big part of our business is understanding data and insights as well. It's a huge challenge, but it's something that we have to look at, maybe not on a daily basis, but possibly on a weekly basis, where we sit down and look at trends and insights across social media, streaming, the website, e-commerce, social sentiment. You know, there's a lot going on, and we try to act on what we're learning. Yeah.
How involved does he get in all of that?
Rob's a naturally curious person, and he's always asking. I actually have huge respect for him, because sometimes you think, you know, artists would be sitting back thinking that the world will just, like, things magically happen, but he's a extremely creative and curious person. Every day he's creating, you know, music or art or content that he. You know, and then he asks, you know, this video that I made yesterday, how did it perform? You know, I mean, like, why did it work or why didn't it work? So we have, like, people that are really brilliant at those kind of things, listening to Rob. And I love that about any artist that kind of wants to understand what's working, what's not working, and how they can do better. So
he is. I mean, we had "Let Me Entertain You" as the song, but and the name of the session, but he is a natural entertainer. I remember when he was at the Grand Prix about 6 or 7 years ago, and it rained, and there were 60,000 of us at the Padang, and it proper Singapore rained straight down, and we were getting soaking wet. And he walked out on stage and just went, "If you stay, I'll stay."
Amazing, yeah.
60,000 people went, "Okay."
Yeah, that's what's great about him. You know, he's not afraid to get wet and make mistakes. You know, he is a perfectionist, but he's there to entertain people, and he cares, like, about the experience, the shared experience, and he actually cares about everything he does, and he wants to do it to the best degree possible. Whether that's with if we're working with a brand on a campaign, he really gets involved, and he wants to understand, like, the objective of whether it's Volkswagen or Deutsche Telekom or Visa. What are you trying to do? Who are we trying to connect with? Can I do something better? Or how about this? He's even written songs himself specifically for advertisements because he's interested in it. And at a show, for anybody who might be around at the Grand Prix on Sunday, he's headlining on Sunday. He looks at people in the audience and he tries to understand, like, are they having a good time? What am I doing right and what am I doing wrong? And then the next day after the show, we talk about it. He has a musical director and he's like, this thing didn't work, people weren't reacting well here. Fortunately, people do react really well with Robbie, but because he's just a brilliant showman. He's probably the greatest of his generation, arguably. And I find that interesting that every single day he analyzes everything about his life, which is, being on the stage, whether it's on the internet, social media, or in a stadium.
So, it's clearly an exciting role, clearly an exciting, entertaining artist and a very talented artist. But what are the challenges? What are your daily challenges, and how do you get over them?
I guess, like, we've really challenged ourselves over the past couple of years. Well, Rob has challenged us, to do new things, and kind of, I always call it, like, we've had a most amazing 25-year ride. Well, he has, but, like, we're focused on the next 25 years. I always try and remind the team, like, actually, the best days are ahead of us, and what can we do and where can we go to continue to, be bigger. I came here a week early because I wanted to, like, learn more about the region and spend more time here and build relationships, and we're going to come back here and, play in the future. So we're kind of laying the building blocks for the future. So to answer your question, like, what are we doing to kind of keep, Rob inspired or fulfill his dreams. Right now we've just completed shooting a Netflix documentary, which we started a year and a half ago. We've partnered with Ridley Scott and his company RSA, who've produced a Robbie 4-part documentary, which will come out on Netflix in very early November. So that's something.
Has that been announced yet?
It has been announced but November is when it, like, the partnership has been announced and the Netflix thing has been announced, but the date was not announced, so it's going to be early November. So you'll start seeing it on your Netflix box. You know, they pre-advertise it a month in advance. So Netflix, that's really like, and to your, like, Robbie wanted to do something on Netflix because it was like such a huge audience, and it's where people go to have a kind of lean back experience. And we wanted to do something for everybody and not just fans of an artist. It was like, so we done this Netflix partnership. And another thing that we've been working on for the past years to kind of go out of our comfort zone, you know, Robbie wanted to do a feature film about his life. You know, because you've seen like the Queen movie, how successful that was, and you've seen Elton John and Rocket Man, and you know Lady Gaga's film, you know, that A Star Is Born. So we started on a path to make a movie years ago, and with Rob, and we found a team, a production company, partners, investors, and we've made an incredible film that's coming out next year. Michael Gracie is the director. He done The Greatest Showman, and him and Robbie connected a long time ago, where Michael Gracie was working on The Greatest Showman, and he famously tells the story that like Michael Gracie was trying to get Hugh Jackman to play the character, and Hugh was like, I'm not sure these songs are going to be good enough. So Michael Gracie somehow found his way to Robbie through a mutual friend, played the songs. So Robbie called Michael Gracie up on FaceTime and said, these songs are fucking brilliant, you know, to Hugh Jackman. And Hugh Jackman says, well, if it's good enough for Robbie, it's good enough for me, I'm in. So that's how Robbie and Michael Gracie connected. And, you know, all these years later, we've completed shooting a movie that will be out next year. And it's
Has that been announced?
It's been, people know that it's been, we had to go to Cannes Film Festival this year, but, you know, the dates, you know, it's next year, so, like, that's probably, you know, new.
You've got 17 minutes to get that one out of you.
Yeah. So anyways, like, that's my point. It's like, we had to go out of our comfort zone to do things we've never really done before, and now we finished them, and, we're doing them to kind of tell the story, but also create the future and connect with a new fan base of the next generation of fans who would never know who Robbie was, or might have only heard a couple of songs. And it's a pretty groundbreaking film. Like, we have incredible technology in it, you know, from AI and avatars. We worked with Weta, who made, you know, the special effects in Lord of the Rings, Avatar 2. We're working with those guys. They're based in New Zealand. So it's pretty groundbreaking. It's not just an ABC biopic. It takes, you know, it's a whole new world of kind of immersive entertainment with great songs and a great story.
Fantastic. And he's clearly reinventing himself all the time. Like you said, he could just be sitting back and we talked about this earlier. What is his approach to this big subject of AI and avatars?
I know he loves it, you know. I know he's like really interested in AI, and he's been using tools like ChatGPT, and this, like, it's not really well known, but Rob, as an artist himself, you know, he paints and draws and illustrates, and over the past year, we kind of started letting the world know that he was doing this. We had an exhibition at Sotheby's in London of his work. We also done an exhibition of Rob's art at Sotheby's in Dubai. And then he also curated an exhibition of art that he loves, because he's got amazing taste and he's an amazing art collection himself. So he curated an auction with Sotheby's. So he's really fascinated by it. He's drawing every single day, and you know, we're exploring partnerships in the art world and how we can use things like AI and technology to bring the art to life. So we've even started, like, his art, if you see it at some of his shows, is on the screens, you know, like we've like animated it and made it move, and it's pretty interesting, you know, that it's kind of come full circle, you know, like this hobby of his is now like the backdrop to, you know, on these like giant screens, his illustrations and his drawings. So that's kind of exciting for us.
Well, you look at shows like ABBA, Voyage, or you know, Scarlet, for an artist, Scarlett's making avatars of artists, but then localizing their localizing them into, so Robbie could be singing in Chinese or Korean or Japanese and just entertaining a whole new audience, right?
Exactly, and that's like one of the things that we are doing on this movie, like where we've actually trained an AI technology to, so Rob's giving it lots of input, voice, and like that technology will be able to, make his voice in different languages and at different ages, because the movie is like from him as a boy to his kind of mid-30s, and your voice changes, it's different. So even the AI has factored in that into our film, and it's really exciting. And as I was saying, like, he loves ChatGPT, where he's giving it ideas and he's feeding his own images into it as well. And he uses other platforms. But we're all learning.
We actually did come up, we had lunch earlier, but we did come up with the name Robbie Will AI AMS.
Good one.
Yeah. There's a lot of people from a lot of different industries here, but there's a lot of artist managers here, or people who are managing brands as well. And this is what this is all about, managing a brand. Yeah. What advice can you give for anyone looking to manage such an established brand over such a long time that's constantly trying to change? What advice can you give?
Maybe, one of the things I would say is like to find your like real skill, within a team, and and then become better and learn more. It's kind of hard to go in to, because I started at the bottom and I had to kind of work my way in and understand where I would be useful to kind of, to rise within the business or the industry and our company. So it's like find your real, and don't try to do the things you're terrible at, and try and, build teams or find people who are better than you. And like find your real skill and be great at it, and then people will recognize it, and then find your niche is what I mean, rather than try and be manager of the next big superstar. It's like how can I infiltrate that thing and get in there. So finding your niche and being helpful to people. And like I used to because I was in the technology and music, I had loads of managers would always ask me for help or advice and whatever, and I just went out of my way to be really helpful, just as a friend, and whether they were hiring somebody, and I find like giving away, giving things, giving your time and attention, or emailing folks, I've seen you doing this, but how about this? Little helpful suggestions. People remember that, you go out of your way, and then sometimes it comes back. There's no shortcuts, like everybody knows in any professional career. And then hard work is obvious, and then you need luck. You need a bit of luck. Some of the best managers in the world haven't found the right artist to work with, just because luck is a big thing as well. Some of the worst managers are working with the greatest artists just because of luck, or not that they're the worst, but they're not the best. But they made it work. They found their way in, and they went out of their comfort zone or out of their way, and here they are.
Are you working with any other artists?
Yeah, we have 5 other artists, most of which are kind of in development. So we're helping them to take their time rather than try and rush in and be huge. Because like if you come in fast, you can go out fast as well. So it's like a slow build, learning, getting better at your craft, finding the right partners, whether that's a record label or a publishing company or an agent. So yeah, we do have other projects, but we're totally focused on kind of the Robbie stuff right now, because we're coming into like what is truly a golden age, a golden era for him, where he's celebrating 25 years as a solo artist. We've got this big tour that's taken us all around the world, the Netflix partnership, the feature film coming out next year, and a whole bunch of other things, around art and technology. Robbie's also a co-owner of a university in England. He's interested in, helping young people learn, and that business has been really successful. Over 1,000 students in London and Liverpool, and we've scaled that business massively. And he loves it. He's a curious person who cares about people, because he's the ultimate guy who made it. He was not even, didn't take that he wasn't supposed to be the superstar. He was like, some people call him the backing dancer, you know. Then he had his own vision and his own dream and his own relentless desire to, you know, to be someone. And he's driven this whole thing himself. This is why the Netflix thing is really interesting for people to watch, because he didn't want it to be, you know, all shiny and wonderful. He wanted to talk about like how difficult it was and how difficult it is and the dark side of fame. So, yeah, but it also shows how underrated he was at that time, and even still today, you know, as a songwriter and a phenomenal lyricist. You know, you see him writing his songs with guys playing the music, and Rob's coming up with these iconic lyrics that everybody knows today. So the documentary, Guy Chambers actually had a camera in the room, like from the earliest time they were collaborating. So you can see hits being made that are super famous 30 years later. You know, in a house in London. Pretty amazing.
It seems like a really fun management role.
Yeah, it is fun, but it's huge fun, and Rob is actually a pleasure to work with, and he's so polite and reliable and ambitious. He cares a lot about people as well, so we're really privileged to work with someone like that. There is a lot of pressure, you know, we got to deliver, and we got to make sure things go right, but I think we've done a good job at IE Music over the past 25 years. But you know, we're always bringing in new people into the team to freshen it up, and let me entertain him or let us entertain him. Like, that's important, that, you know, we inspire him, because like if you're looking around the room of your management company and they don't inspire you, or you don't feel that they're pushing you, you know, it raises questions in any creator's mind or head. You know, are these the right people? But Rob is a very loyal person as well, because outside of just our management business, like people that have worked for him from the earliest stage, you know, when he was, you know, starting out, are still working for him today. You know, whether it's like the guys driving the van, you know, they had an 8-seater, you know, back in the day, and now they're doing the FIFA World Cup and the Olympics, you know, ferrying the biggest brands around, you know, so they've kind of grown with Robbie, and like the road crew and the people on the road, or the chefs or the catering, you know, we've worked with people for 20 odd years. So when you find great people that you can rely on and trust, you know, it is a business, but there is a family thing in there when everybody comes together on a big world tour. You know, there's 100 people on the road, truck drivers and road crew and lighting and sound, and we have great fun, but everybody delivers. You know, you got to put on your A game. That was the problem with virtual events, wasn't it? That you can't have this, and you can't have, at the end of the day, you put your laptop down and your cats are staring at you because they're hungry. Yeah. It's not like... and we'll talk about challenges, and you talked about when things go right. What happens when things, you know, if and when things go wrong? Yeah, good question. And I guess like we've built up good, you know, great people at helping us to... you know, Rob's not really done a lot of like, you know, crazy things, you know, and sometimes he's actually been really honest about when he's fought, you know, he's had as well documented, you know, 20 years ago, you know, with drink and drugs and rehab. Everybody knows about that. He's been very honest about it. He's kind of lived his life on the front pages. But because he was so honest, I kind of think people give him a bit of, you know, but people respect that he was honest, and he's helped other people out in their struggles over the years. But when it goes wrong, you know, with a great team and people that we know and trust, like we've got a great PR company that we've worked with for a very long time, who help us. And ironically, when you manage like a huge artist, it's not always like, how do we get in the news? It's like, how do we not get in the news? You know what I mean? Because there's no point in being in every newspaper for every reason. You know, so like we try to do less but more strategically. And when things go wrong, you know, we've got great people on the team that advise us, or we might have some advice, or yeah. Okay, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not trying to dig for it's more like if you're trying out new technology, sometimes it's not going to work, and that is when the team comes together. Yeah, right? And by the way, things do go wrong, and we have to try and like sometimes you have to give up. You know, but fortunately, not everything that goes wrong is seen out in the wider world. And there has been loads of things over the years that we've tried, and okay, at least we gave it a go. But I think from these like testing things or having failures that people don't see, but you make your failures small and your successes big, that kind of leads you into, the successes like what we've had in education. Like that was something that we were like, maybe, we were trying to like train people within our company, and we kind of like, we're almost in the education business here, because you're finding the best and training the best, and then they go off to be the best. So that kind of like, learning from that, it kind of got Robbie more curious about the education world, and we found people, and we've had a great ride, helping these young kids, come out of the uni and find a job in the business.
Fantastic. So final question, Stephen. You talked about what's coming up next for Robbie. You got Netflix, which we kind of heard here first. We got the film, which we definitely didn't hear first, but we might have heard bits about avatars in here first. Yep. What's next for Robbie? But what's really for IE Music right now, because you're getting involved in so many areas of the business. What's really exciting for you now?
I think like from a management perspective, working with amazing talent, like I've been really fascinated by, and so has Rob, how, superstars or people that have an audience can kind of, with a proper plan and a proper vision, create new brands and new value out of, you've been building this personality for 25 years, but how can you turn it into other things? Like if you look at Ryan Reynolds and his aviation gin, The Rock has his tequila, Conor McGregor has got his whiskey, and now he's got a new, competitor to Guinness. You've got like Kim Kardashian with her Skims, and I think, I know like we're working on some of these like amazing things in the background, and we've been working on them for a long time, longer than we want to, but and we've been testing things and learning. I think that's a really fascinating space where you can get it right, and like the upside is incredible. So the brand side of things is really interesting. We're fascinated by hospitality and venues and entertainment and experiences like Abba Voyage, like you mentioned, and digital things like avatars and stuff. So yeah, we're all about creating these things to kind of help Rob kind of build his empire. He's already got a great empire, but he wants to do more, and it's our job to make it happen with him and for him.
And you've said already, I mean, there are a lot of brands here, and this is about marketing, so you are keen to meet the brands. So if any of you here are Robbie fans or fans of the Robbie brand, then you want to meet them, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Brand partnerships have been a huge part of our business for over 20 years. We've worked with some of the amazing companies, and our partnerships with brands just keeps getting bigger and better around the world. And he's a great ambassador. He's he works with brands as well. He wants to understand. Gosh, if I had some of the videos, we'd done some amazing things with Volkswagen years ago, where he became in the advertisement, the marketing director of Volkswagen. So he's designing the cars with a Robbie thing. He's singing songs and being the best marketing director for Volkswagen. So yeah, we work brilliantly with brands, and they help us make his kind of ambitions come true when it comes to touring or sponsorship. But then he adds a lot of value on the brand partnership side, because he's such a someone who connects really well with audiences, and the brands keep coming back. So I guess it's working.
Actually, you did say if you get a chance, watch Robbie's Volkswagen ads. They are absolutely hysterical. They're brilliant. But it is a partnership, right? It's not about just slapping a logo at the back of a video.
No, and he loves meeting the decision makers within the brands, and we spend time with them, and and he goes to visit the company, the headquarters, understand what's the objective, and he'll put in his own ideas as well. And he's actually becoming more and more interested in that side of things, because he is an entrepreneur as well, and he is a brand, and we're working with brands on our ideas with companies, where we can maybe do a collaboration with them or create our own range. You know, so like there's kind of there's traditional brand partnerships, and then there's like these new kind of partnerships where you can do something with a brand, which is only gonna go one way. You know, yeah. So it's been fun working with brands, and that's why I'm here as well. You know, like I came a week before the show to meet people, connect with people, and learn and listen.
You have been sitting there all week, haven't you? I mean, it's amazing.
I haven't left for 3 days.
Stephen, we ran out of time. I mean, you have got one of the coolest jobs on the planet. I mean, it's cool. I mean, when you say to people, "Yeah, I manage Robbie Williams," but you've talked about how to manage one of the best-known entertainment brands. You've talked about partnerships. You haven't talked about the last 25 years. You talked about the next 25 years. You talked about how to reinvent and continue to reinvent. You talked about being helpful, being curious, being loyal. You talked about the team a lot, which I think is really important. Talked about Netflix and the movie, but yeah, I mean, good luck this weekend. Hopefully it doesn't rain this time. But thank you so much for joining us. And if anyone wants to meet with Stephen and talk Robbie, he's here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.